And then later on, under special use permit, duration of permit, only a one-time special permit, this is at the bottom of page 3, and no expiration date, so that you have a one-time permit. The fee amount, which is on the last page, would be, like I mentioned before, that would be established by the board by resolution from time to time, whenever we update fees. Enforcement, we've talked about that. Enforcement's difficult for any of these local laws, this one's included, but it would just be a general violation penalty enforcement that we have for all the local laws that's already in the general provisions of our code. It wouldn't be like a new or separate penalty or violation list. It's an option to do that, but I just left that as just our general provisions law. So the question before the board is, are there any other tweaks before we tee this up for a public hearing? Like I said, it'd probably be at our January meeting, at our workshop, we would do a public hearing and then decide if we're there yet in terms of the vote. Or would you like to just send this forward if you think it's good enough for now until we get all the feedback we're going to get?
So if you take out number 4, expiration of the existing special use permit within 90 days of expiration of the existing permit, the owner of the street desiring to renew said special use permit shall file an application for renewal. You take that out, and number 5 can't really be, you're not going to know, if you have a permit, you're not going to know when it stops or starts. So
true, so 5 almost becomes moot.
yeah, it's kind of.
Is there a scenario where?
I think the smartest thing I've ever seen done is, again, this is just an idea, but when you require a 2-night rental, at minimum, that gets rid of a lot of the problem people that come in to rent these things. When they're required to be there for at least 2 nights, it takes out the trash. It could take it for 1 night, be a party, right? The 2-night rental is what I've seen. I have STRs, and that's what I require, a 2-night rental, because I don't want the people that are coming in for do a one and done, get and trash the place and leave. The 2-night, those are the people that are not usually an issue. I'm not saying they're never an issue, but I've not had issues. But that's always been something that I felt like was the smartest thing I ever did, was to require a 2-night rental so that it just keeps the level of it to a different standard. But that can also be easier to enforce because you'll be able to see it right online. We can go online and see the 7 that are out there in this town, and you'll be able to see if they're requiring 2 nights or not. Just saying. And I think any good owner of an STR would prefer that it's a good person coming in, and would probably, if they really thought about it, would probably agree with the position. So I think that might be something really, really helpful for the public hearing.
They get their money whether they're there or not, but like you said, it gives them time to establish. Like we went camping last summer, one night, this whole bunch of, for lack of better, were probably undocumented, pulled in. There was like 12 of them in one little tent, and they partied all night long. So the next morning, people were upset because we were there for a few days, but they were packed up and gone already. So it ruined. There was no investment on their part to do other than whatever they wanted. They were drinking and partying all night. So.
Well, how does everybody feel about adding that provision, at least for the public hearing and getting feedback?
Yeah. And I would say that, and this is my opinion, with the caveat that as long as they're within a 2-night rental, that they're the rest of it is just going to be common sense stuff. Nothing, it needs to be allowed.
Yeah, all this is really just safety and parking and other things. I don't think there's anything else in there that's too restrictive. All right, so I'll add probably right after it's number 6. I'll add because that's where we talk about the 30 days. All right, I will have that ready for Thursday, and then we'll set it up for the resolution that tees it up. We'll publish it, and the public hearing will be at the workshop in January. Thank you, everybody. Cemetery. So the latest work has really been done by Shelley, and I asked that you take a look at the spreadsheet with her and some of the work she's doing. And just so you know, I'm going to ask her for volunteers to set up a task force, because we need a couple people from the board to work with Shelley and Roger, who are the experts on our cemetery, to update our law.
We haven't done this in a long time. I don't know how long it's been. I don't know, 10, 15 years probably. But when the funeral homes are telling you that you really need to increase your rates or take a look at that, then it's time to look at our rates. So this is really cumbersome, and I apologize for that, but it's because I contacted a lot of cemeteries. And there are so many different ways that they bill, there's even a different price for youth in some cemeteries, Saturday, holiday, evening, they're all over the board. So you're gonna find a lot of columns and a lot of information here. I didn't give you any of the rules and regulations, but I do have 7 sets of rules and regulations for local cemeteries. So we're just looking at pricing right now, and I also gave you our current fee schedule, and these are our rules and regulations. That's all we've got, is that one page.
So yeah, obviously, the regulations piece, Shelley found several good local laws that are good models. We also have the one from the town insurance company. So, but before, doing it, I think it would be a long slog if we try to do it here with all of us. I'd rather have this committee or task force formed to work on it, look at those 7 laws that Shelley found, look at these fees, and then come up with some recommendations to the board. It's gonna take some time. It's a lot of information. So, anyone interested in serving on that committee, if you will, task force?
I'll do it.
Steve? Okay. So, Steve, I'll work on it with you, and we'll try to have Shelley and Roger at each of the meetings, because they have all the expertise.
Steve, I will send you the 7 sets of rules and regulations that I've got. Some of them are like 1 page like ours. Really, Boxwood, I think, is the only really big set of, they've got a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
But the other ones are minor.
Last was one has the fishing out back, right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
They have whole code regulations. But I'll get those to you.
Yeah, it's interesting, there's resident, non-resident differences and fees.
We do that too.
Yeah, it's just the difference between what a resident and non-resident pays in different
It's
towns.
just interesting to me that for a full grave or cremation burial, it's such a different size and it's the same. Is it
So,
the same?
It's
Yeah.
the same grave size, but we put multiple cremations in one grave.
Right.
And that's also something that we have to decide. Do we want to charge for multiple, like, there are occasions where we may inter 2 cremations at the same time. We have been in practice of charging for 1 cremation. A lot of cemeteries will charge for 2. If you're interring 2, then you would be charged for 2. So we will put a full burial first and up to 3 cremations on
On top, okay,
in one
good.
grave.
Yeah, I think that, the one, my family, there's 1 long casket, and then as people have passed, they've gone to cremation, there's only 2 allowed, but it's just such a small, it seems like such a big price versus to bury an entire casket versus,
You're still
huh?
giving it the lot, it's the same one, you can't sell a different size lot, you're buying a specific size, even though it's.
Right, you're buying a lot, what I'm saying is, but when they're saying right here, the fee for full burial, you charge that $400 for each burial that goes on that?
For a resident, it's $400. For a non-resident, it's
Right.
$450.
So-
So cremation burials are different.
Right.
The grave price is the same, but the fee to inter is different for a cremation.
Okay, that's what I'm not looking at then.
It's on that first sheet, almost to the end.
So
It's like
200,
see it there? Yes,
yep,
200.
okay, that's what I was talking about. I understand you're buying the plot.
Mhm.
You're buying the real estate first and then you're filling it up after.
Mhm.
Right, okay, that makes sense. You need to-
Hi, resident, if somebody lived here for 50 years, went to Florida, then wanted to be buried here, would they be a resident or not?
You're paying the non-resident.
No, if they don't own property in the town,
I don't see anybody over 350 pounds having
No,
vitamins.
yeah, we have to buy 2. It's okay, buddy, go home.
At least the child was sleeping.
Harold,
You won't know what happened.
Harold, always remember, start your thing with, I'm asking for a friend.
Yeah.
Because when Steve's here, it's
Say somebody weighs in.
and if it's Steve and Susan and Terry.
Do we charge more for bigger guys? All right.
All right. Very good. Thank you, and we'll look forward to, thank you, Steve, for helping. We'll get this, hopefully in the next month or two, we'll have some drafts for not only the law, but the fees, which we definitely need to look at the fees closely. Of course. Let's see. There is another sheet. Union contract update, we're gonna meet again on Thursday. Nothing new to report there. We have an executive session tonight after this meeting to go over the latest on that. I'm just mentioning the website does have to change to a .gov website. So I have to assign the domain and just reread those regulations, and I'll have to get to that by December 21st.
So I've already done that.
Oh, that part? You have?
So
Okay.
I've already you had to create an account with, I think it's login.gov or gov something.
Yeah.
I don't know.
So you did that
So-
step.
So
Excellent.
townofyates.gov is available, but they are so backlogged because when the government, when everything was shut down, they weren't doing anything. Of course, everybody has this deadline of December 21st. So I contacted them today because it's been well over 10 days, and they just said, we haven't even looked at your request yet.
Oh my gosh. Well, thank you for doing that.
Yep.
I was just catching up to it, and you've already taken care of it. But in the meantime, it may be spill out into next year, it
So
sounds like.
it should be townofyates.gov.
Okay. And none of the information that they list is an issue. We have all that, and I think we have a very good website, so it's disappointing that we have to change it, but
I supplied them with everything they asked. I don't, they'll let me know if we're missing anything.
yeah, all right. So Dave Reese couldn't be here, but he did want to raise one of the challenges he faces. Let's see if I can find the sheet. I have it in front of me. But he, on the table in there, he raised the issue of campers, and he said, what you find is campers are supposed to be limited, the number that you can have on your property, how long they can be there. If they end up over a certain amount of time, are they a camper still, or are they a residence? If they're residents and people are actually living there year-round, do they have septic system, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And on the flip side of that is the tax question: are they paying taxes for what's essentially a residence? And this is a sensitive subject, and I think what we want to do is kind of clear the deck with STRs and maybe even the cemetery, but we need to grapple with it. He said our law is pretty vague and pretty open-ended, and he gets complaints on either side of this, and it's challenging. Is that a fair way?
Yes.
Shelley's nodding because she hears a lot of that too. He was going to try to be here tonight, so since he's not, I'm just letting you know, probably by next month, he's going to try to update us on what's our current law, what are some of the laws that, like we're doing with cemetery, what are some of the laws that our neighboring towns have, and where do we want to go with that? It's going to be one of those questions, do you take the laissez-faire approach, hands off, people got to do what they got to do, or do we put some restrictions in place? Either way, it's kind of unenforceable almost, I guess you would say. I don't want to put words in his mouth, but he said it's almost unenforceable because of the way the laws are now and the way things are playing out, not just in one or two cases. I would say he'd probably summarize, we'll see what he said, but over a dozen cases where he could go one way or the other, but he's not enforcing because there isn't really a good mechanism. And, he would be concerned about people's safety. He's the guy that issues certificate of occupancies, and it has all sorts of things that you look for, and some of these campers are below that threshold, and yet they're year-round. And so it's a challenge. It's something we need to grapple with, not just on Dave's behalf, because he has to enforce it, but on behalf of the residents so that they're safe, and yet, we don't want them to have to, be booted out of a place that they're living, if that's what it comes to. So that'll be a tough one. Just giving you a heads up. I left the sheet in there, but I had his summary. I think it's in your inboxes, and I also Roger's. So Dave's summary, I think we're hitting a record number of permits, 87, and some update at the end of the year, which is nice. I like that summary. We're gonna see, I mean, just in the seed potato, Quonset huts, it's a $4 million investment. So with all the other permits, I think we're gonna be seeing a pretty good investment in the town this year. It's keeping him busy and on the road, including my house, which only got a temporary CO because I'm not in compliance with a couple of things. And I said, he says, oh, you're not the only one. I said, okay, thank you. I'll see you in 90 days. So I'm glad he's doing what he should do, and there's no favoritism there from Dave. But that was a good report. It's available to you. Roger stopped by. We've been talking lately. There's some, obviously, the roads, keeping the roads cleared and salted. He's done, some guys have done some work on tree trimming of the dead ash that are impacting the roadside. Working on equipment and machines that, now that there's a little bit more indoor work that they can do to work on some of the things, keep everything running. Those are some of his updates, and he's obviously going to, he's losing an employee, I think at the end of this week, I forget the exact date.
14th is his last day.
Sorry, Monday.
14th.
And so he has questions. Obviously, he has options. He's got some applications out for filling a position, but he also will, which he's done before when this happens, start out with a part-time position, even, while he's looking at applications for a full-time replacement. So he would need from us a part-time MEO wage, hourly wage recommendation. He just brought this up tonight, and so I'll do a little analysis of the other towns and what we've done in the past, and I'll send it out. And we'll set that by resolution on Thursday, what that part-time MEO hourly wage will be, so that he has guidance once Cal leaves to get someone in there part-time. And his only plea was, don't make it so low that no one's gonna be interested in doing it. And obviously, that might mean certain things to him, might mean something different to us, I don't know. I'll do some research and come up with a number, and we'll bat it around. And like I said, we should set that by resolution. So that's the update there. The FOIL local law, we're still tabling. Roundtable, what kinds of things do we have that I haven't touched on? I know we've got the executive session, and I've got the list of possible resolutions for Thursday. Anything we haven't talked about?
When's the next foundation meeting?
Foundation meets in January 21st, 20th or 25th?
It's the third Tuesday.
So I need to get the summer rec thing underway again. That is so cumbersome. I'm hoping they could come up with something that was more of a condensed version for example, the town is, all our information is online, and it's a regular standard thing we ask for every year pretty much, but I don't think they've done it, but I'm gonna start getting it. I'd like to get it in January this year instead of, but I'm not sure if I'll get that. I'm gonna try to do that, so if you have any suggestions or free time, let me know. I think that, last year we got a lot of positive support, and things have changed a little, so it should hopefully go through again, but I think that, our staff has been making the same amount of money for probably 10 or 15 years, and I think we need to look at that, so I think it's just fair and reasonable that we ask wages are something that we need to look at, and then come to an agreement on what we can, what's a reasonable, fair wage for the people that have done it in and out for practically nothing, in my opinion, and then also representing to the taxpayers, so I know we're always trying to do a good job with wages and all that, but we haven't in this case, in my opinion, and I think you guys will agree with me when you see it, that we need to step up our game there, and then we can get some support from the foundation, and then also look at what we have saved and what we can help do, because that's a really valuable program. Over 120 kids for the summer, and it's just invaluable, and I think it lasts for decades. It, literally, in our case, I mean, you took swimming lessons, Brinsway?
No,
did you?
I almost drowned it twice too.
Well, I thought you were a floater, but I took swimming lessons there, I taught swimming lessons there for years, I mean, since I was a little kid, it's just such a valuable thing, so, again,
Well, I agree, the January 20th is the deadline, so, and I think they like it 2 weeks at a time, so yeah, right after the first of the year.
well, that might not happen then, 2 weeks ahead of.
Well,
and then
the April meeting is soon enough, if we get it in April.
April's good enough, alright, I'll get it done for January and give it to them,
I can help
2
you.
months ahead.
If I can help you, let me know.
Yeah, I will, thank you. That's it.
All right,
Sorry.
anything else for the group? So we'll see about things on Thursday night for the union contract, the health insurance carrier, the part-time MEO hourly wage. Tentatively, I forgot to ask you this date, set, the end of year meeting where we close the books,
This is the
December
29th.
the 30th or the 29th, is it the 30th okay for you?
It would be
Is
the
Monday.
very last day, right?
31st.
31st
And that's
is
easy.
Because we're off that.
is off, but, oh yeah,
Say Monday or Tuesday, 29th or 30th.
29th might be better, yeah. All right, let's do the 29th at 5 PM. We'll put it in the resolution, but that's better, I like that.
You guys are both in here.
At least, we just need 3, and it's a quick vote on authorizing closing of the books.
Okay.
And then the last resolution, other than what Shelley has some stuff that we'll do, is the STR public hearing, hopefully, okay? Well, folks, we're going to break for executive session. We appreciate everybody being here. And some of you, or all of you, will see you on Thursday night, and then feedback for us.